Over the past few days, I've been tinkering with my Matchday 1 draft, and in today's video, I'm going to showcase my updated and new draft, and of course, talk through my chip strategy ahead of the upcoming tournament. Now, before we dive into today's video, of course, if you are enjoying the Club World Cup content on the channel, make sure you're liking, commenting, and subscribing, and letting me know in the comments section if you are enjoying it or anything you would like to see before we obviously hit the deadline for match day 1. As you can see on screen right now is my mini league code, and currently I do have one of the biggest mini leagues within the game. So if you want to get yourself involved in that one, head over to the website. There is a link in the description as well, the auto join link, if you don't want to just type out the code. We'll probably give away a prize for first place as well, especially if we hit like 1,000 people in there. We've got to give away a prize for first place as well, so make sure you're getting yourself locked and loaded for that one. Also, make sure you're following me over on Twitter as well. We're posting pretty much daily about Club World Cup, and obviously any updates or any kind of team transfers that I make, obviously when the game starts as well, we'll be doing active substitutions. So, of course, that'll be the place to find out all the moves there. Right, before we head then into the team itself, let's talk about my chip strategy, and we've got some upcoming data from 11FI as well. Let's start off with my chip strategy, and it's pretty much been confirmed probably since my second draft, I would say. This is the plan that I've gone with in terms of it. So in match day 1, we're going to play the 12th man. After looking at the betting odds, I'm fully going to be targeting Bayern versus Auckland. I'm expecting lots of goals in that one, so I'm going to be using the 12th man. In this case, it's not going to be for the extra Bayern asset, but that has kind of been the theme throughout, to be honest. I might potentially be looking at another asset within there, but it very easily could still be a Bayern player within that 12th spot. But for right now, it's actually a player that's not from Bayern Munich. And then in match day 2, we're going to be going for the max captain chip. There are some absolutely amazing one-sided fixtures across the whole of match day 2. And I think the 20th pretty much exemplifies that. There's 3 great fixtures, and realistically, I don't want to miss out on a captain opportunity. And I think playing that chip then is going to be the best route for points for me, meaning that I'll always have the top captaincy option covered for match day 2. Now, some people have suggested playing this chip a little bit later in the semi-finals or the finals, but I just, for me personally, feel like there's more upside playing this chip early doors, because what you're going to have is bigger one-sided games, a lot more higher scoring games, and a lot more players scoring bigger points. You think kind of back to past finals, there's probably only maybe 1 or 2 goals in it. This Champions League final this year was probably a little bit of a kind of differentiating one, but every other one usually is a very tight affair, and I don't think there's too many goals involved. So we're going to play it in match day 2. Then the plan is going to be wildcard in match day 3. There's some really difficult opponents kind of facing off against each other in that one. You've got City against Juve, you've got Bayern versus Benfica, and the way a lot of our match day 1 kind of team is set up and our transfers ahead of match day 2 is we're all going to have a lot of players from those teams. So best to kind of get them out of the way, wildcard, and then start afresh with match day 3, where I am expecting some potential rotation as well, potentially with some teams that are already through the group stage. So that is my chip strategy. I think that's quite a common play that most people are going for, and I think the best advice I can give you guys is to play your chips early in this game. It's not like FPL, where of course it's over a long period of time. There's only maybe 7 or 8 game weeks within this one, so you've got to be quick out the blocks, get the chips used, and get the most upside out of them. That is my big advice heading into this tournament. Let's move on then. Let's take a look at the 11FI data. As always, there will be a link to 11FI's amazing website. Now, I did speak to them when they obviously created the data, and they said this hasn't kind of gone through the usual kind of process that the Premier League data does. So they said, you know, this one's a little bit more vibes a little bit. They've kind of not done as much due diligence as they normally would do. So I would say maybe just take it with a little bit of pinch of salt, but I still think the numbers are pretty accurate to what we're seeing with especially the betting markets as well early doors within this. So we've got Bayern Munich, obviously top 4 projected goals in match day 1. That is why I'm suggesting using the 12th man chip on them. You can get yourself 3 or even potentially 4 Bayern Munich attackers within your side, and obviously when we come to see the clean sheet data as well, it's also looking pretty positive, so that could also be an area where you want to exploit as well. City's opening 2 fixtures are really tasty as well, 3.49 and then 3.99. Haaland is a player that not a lot of people are currently speaking about, and he could be a real nice differential. The problem is though that you're trying to squeeze Kane, Haaland, Mbappe, Guirassy. There's so many good forwards within there, and unfortunately it feels like because Manchester City are probably so far away from that opening game, if there is going to be any maybe rotation within those opening two, is it worth the gamble on Haaland? I'm a little bit unsure, but like I said, those opening two fixtures are very scrumptious indeed. Despite a difficult opening fixture, Real Madrid still fancied, they're still up there. Chelsea have got a pretty decent game week 1 fixture as well, and a game week 3 fixture, but you do imagine by that point they're probably going to be 2 for 2, so there will be some rest and rotation, but still another fixture we might want to look to target in there. Benfica in match day 2 as well with 3.63 is also pretty good. Obviously they're going to be playing Auckland City in that one, and as you can see, Dortmund across all 3 match days are pretty good value for money, so the likes of Brandt, Gross, Garassi, all going to be very popular picks with decent projected goal numbers. Let's take a look then on the other side at the clean sheet data heading into this week from 11FI. As you can see, Bayern Munich 82%, very strong probability of a clean sheet in the opening match day. City as well with 65, so that bodes well for people that of course have selected Gvardiol. Their match day 2 fixture is also pretty decent, so if you're on the same strategy as me, you feel like City defenders could be a decent buy-in as well, with good opening fixtures in match day 1 and match day 2. Inters across the board as well with a pretty easy group are also quite fancied, so I know a lot of people are looking at DeMarco, Dumfries. They're going to be very popular assets that should be able to keep clean sheets across the board. Chelsea as well for match day 1, if you're planning on wildcarding in 2, could also be a decent shout. Cucurella and Levi Colwill, who's currently under 5% as well, could also be a fantastic shout. But one of my favourite teams to be going picking up is Juventus. I think you've got Cambiasso and Lloyd Kelly, who currently find themselves under 5%, and definitely 2 players I would be looking at with strong projected clean sheet numbers like that. Again, we're seeing Benfica obviously with a big juicy number in match day 2 against Auckland. Same goes with Boca as well, so pretty much across the tournament you can see which teams you probably should be targeting. The Aucklands, the Casablancas, these are the teams where you can see high projected goal numbers and high clean sheet numbers. That was the 11FI data. Of course, if you want to go and check it out for yourself, I will leave a link in the description. But let's head on into my new and improved draft. Like I said at the start of the video, if you are enjoying the Club World Cup content, make sure you are liking and subscribing to the channel. Now let's dive into my new and improved draft for match day 1. We're going to start off with our goalkeeper pairing of Armani and Martian, both coming in ridiculously cheap at 4.1 and 4 million. If you've watched my channel for a long time, you know my kind of stance on goalkeepers. They're a position that gets very limited upside. There's only one way that they can pretty much score points. Maybe they save a penalty, but with it pretty much being like a 75% probability that you're going to score a penalty, I would probably exclude that as kind of any sort of points metric. So it is going to be just from saves and clean sheets, and I think the play might be to go for the cheap and cheerful goalkeepers that have high probability of those clean sheets but are also under 5%, because then you're going to be getting that extra 2% scouting bonus. So that would be my recruiting policy for goalkeepers as well going forward, and I believe Marchesjan fits under that kind of category at the moment. 2.1. Ramiro is out injured. Whether or not he's going to be out injured for the tournament, yet to be seen, but there is a cheaper goalkeeper from Al Ahly as well that we can also select. So I think having this kind of combination of 2 cheap playing goalkeepers is going to work absolute wonders for us. Let's head on then into the back line. We're first going to start off with Akimi, an absolute beast in UCL Fantasy. 47 games, 8 goals, 12 assists this season. The problem that I've got with him is it's this opening fixture against Atletico, which is really difficult. Of course, I want him for the matchday 2 fixture, but like I said, I think realistically we need to be taking the group stage at a game-by-game basis. And I think with there only being a -3 in play rather than a -4, I definitely think hits are a route to kind of more points for me that I'm definitely going to be looking to take across this tournament. So Akimi is a very highly owned player, and he definitely can do some damage on his day, but it's just not a great opening fixture. So I am thinking about maybe we do switch him out, maybe for a player under 5% owned, maybe we go double Juve defence, get Cambiasso in there with 2 pretty decent opening fixtures for them. If he can manage to stay under 5%, could be a great little option. Next up is going to be one of the best cheap defenders within the game, it is going to be Mora. Porto's group is pretty easy across the board, to be honest. I definitely would be looking to target them. They've got some absolutely fantastic cheap players at 4.1 million. I really don't think you can go wrong with that one. Also been pretty prolific as well in terms of his goal involvements. 13 goal involvements in 31 games is pretty good from a 4.1 million defender. As you can see, I've changed up my Dortmund defender as well. We've gone for Svensson. The reason we've gone for it, yes, he is more expensive, but again, it's coming in under that 5% ownership, so he's going to be getting you those extra 2-point scouting bonus if he manages to score 4 points. We saw with the 11FI data across the results for projected goals and for projected clean sheets, it's looking very favourable that Dortmund should do quite well within that one. So I'm feeling pretty confident about that. Again, though, if he does creep above 5%, he will be swapped out of the team because there's no point spending extra money on a defender who's not really getting kind of too many different numbers from the other Dortmund defenders. It is purely down to the fact that he's made it in here that he is under 5%. In terms of our defenders on the bench, we saw, again, with the 11FI data, the clean sheets looking ridiculously good for Inter. So Denzel Dumfries comes in here. He's going to be an absolute monster. The only concern I do have with Inter is how are they going to potentially line up in this tournament under their new management? Is there going to be maybe a change from this wing-back formation that's been so prolific, especially for their kind of, UCL players and players that have played Serie A fantasy this season? Or are they going to maybe look to go elsewhere with that one? Kelly's in here. Again, we saw with the 11FI data that the clean sheet numbers are really good for Juve across the opening 2 games with Al Allen and then Casablanca in the second game. Again, he's under 5%, so would highly recommend taking a look at him at 4.7. Obviously, if Cambiasso does stay under 5%, I would probably say he's better than Kelly, but right now I think he's teetering around 4.8, 4.9%, so probably not really worth looking at in my opinion right now. Moving on then, we're going to head into the midfield. We're going to start off first with Michael Elise. That fixture against Auckland we saw with the 11FI data is looking very good. The betting data as well, you can currently get prices of 90 to 1 for Auckland to go and win this game. Obviously, I've been tweeting quite a lot about Auckland City and how bad they are, especially in terms of those Opta rankings as well, just above the mighty likes of Wealdstone and Brackley. So they're definitely going to be a team you need to be looking to target across this tournament. 27 goal involvements in 34 games, 0.85 expected goal involvement per 90 for Elise as well. Could also be a pretty decent captaincy shout as well. And if I was on the 12th man, again, I probably would be looking to try and get at least him or, another Bayern player if I've not got them in my initial kind of setup of 15. Next up is going to be Cole Palmer. I think after that Betis game, I was pretty much convinced that he was going to be a pretty decent pickup. The room that he was allowed to have in that fixture was absolutely ridiculous. And watching that kind of the playoff game between LA and Club America, I was like, there's going to be so much room for Chelsea and Cole Palmer here. On penalties, a talisman. Despite a disappointing season for him at Chelsea in terms of his individual numbers, 24 goal involvements is still pretty decent, and again fits that talisman profile that I always like to look for. Same with Diarasa, I believe it's pronounced. Again, somebody correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. 11 goal involvements in 8 games so far this season for Flamengo is absolutely incredible. They're currently priced at, I think it's maybe like 9 to 1 Tunis, who they're playing in the opening fixture. They on the Opta Power rankings are kind of level with Luton, who were just relegated from the Championship as well. So not a high quality team. And you do feel like a player who's coming into this tournament with excellent form could really do some damage as well. Obviously, we all know about this young man right here, and if you don't, what are you doing? Franco has been absolutely blowing up my timeline. Obviously, he's just secured his move to Real Madrid, but it has been confirmed on Twitter that he is going to be remaining as a River Plate player for this tournament and will join up with Real Madrid in July. But at 4.3 million to get a talisman of a good, decent attacking side, I think, yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking at that one. 8 goal involvements in 12 games so far for River Plate. On penalties, free kicks, corners, 4.3 million. He's got to be pretty much in everybody's side for me personally. The value that that young man is offering is absolutely exceptional, and you feel like he's going to want to put on a show for River Plate and help them get as far in this tournament before, of course, he does join up with Real Madrid. Finally, it is going to be Musiala. 14 goal involvements in 25 games, 0.77 XGI. Obviously, we spoke about Auckland's kind of frailties already in this video. The fact that they are 90 to 1 in terms of the betting odds, their Opta FIFA ranking is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, they're just going to be a team to target. And Musiala, coming back from an injury, but has been in light training for over a month now. So you would imagine he probably sees decent minutes. And I even think, you know, some of these Bayern players, if they do get hooked off at maybe halftime or even pre-60, could still have done some absolute damage to one of these teams. I think it was more likely that it would finish 5-0 than 1-0 on the betting markets as well. So, you know, the bookmakers don't usually get things wrong. They're looking at this as a strong, big win for Bayern Munich heading into this one. Let's finish up then. Let's take a look at all our forwards as I move my laptop cursor down so I can see my notes for this one. Let's start off with Samu. Fantastic enabler for me at 4.2 million. The Porto group is pretty open across the board. 30 games, 19 goals, 3 assists. Yeah, again, an absolute gem at that price point. Unfortunately, he is just over the scouting bonus. He's at 7% now, so we're not going to get anything else out of him. Kane, for me, is the ideal captain for match day 1, so he's going to be in our team ahead of him being in the 12-man slot. It was something I've contemplated and maybe thinking about Elise, but I think Kane, with the fact that he's on penalties, probably going to see decent minutes across this opening fixture, is why I'm just going to go with him. 38 goal involvements, 11 assists this season, absolutely sensational. And like I said, it is just that captaincy appeal, and I did a poll last night on the stream with Fran and Golden Goal. Of course, if you haven't already, check that out. It was a great Q&A. We got lots out of Fran as well. Really, really interesting guy to listen to on that one. And yeah, that was one of the big things that poll showed, that a lot of people are looking at Kane and captain for match day 1. So I think he's got to remain within the squad rather than being the 12th man. Mbappe, man, I've kind of been toying around with Mbappe. I swapped him out for Haaland, and then I was like, no, I think I need Mbappe. Like, it's not the greatest opening fixture. Like, it's going to be, I think, a more difficult game than people let on, but he is a talisman of that side. He's the most owned player within the game as well. So I think it covers me off from that at least as well. If he, of course, does pop off, we don't have him, that could be the end of our tournament. But this way, I think we're at least covered. The second fixture as well is really, really tasty for Kylian Mbappe, as you can see here, and the match day 3 one as well. But obviously, we will be wildcarding. Again, he will be in here as potentially one of the max captain shouts and could absolutely explode in that fixture as well in match day 2. So I really, really want him there. And it does save me a little bit of a transfer as well, bringing him in a week early, which isn't the most difficult fixture, but you know, it's not one of the easiest ones. Finally, we do have our 12th man, and I think this chip should be used on players that you just can't afford to get within your sides, and that is exactly the case we've got with Erling Haaland. He's going to be my 12th man. Like I said, Casablanca are currently 33 to 1 to win that game against Manchester City, so yeah, I really want it. We saw on the 11FI model as well, they are the second best for projected goals. It's also the second biggest betting margin as well, followed obviously Auckland top, then you've got Casablanca second with 33 to 1. So again, they are fancied very, very heavy favourites, and I don't think enough people are talking about Erling Haaland. So that is the plan, to kind of cover it off from you know, a City perspective. I think Cherky, if he joins the club, could be a really, really decent option. But again, we're still waiting to see if he's actually going to be available for this tournament and whether or not that transfer is going to be going through. But he could be a different one, maybe gets a little bit of the scouting bonus as well. But overall, Erling Haaland is going to be the top pick from Manchester City. He fits all the talisman profiles as well. So overall, that is the team and how it is looking ahead of match day 1. But what I wanted to do is take you to match day 2 and show you how my team is currently lining up for this game week. These are the transfer plans that I'm doing, and as you can see, I'm making 4 transfers. I think with there only being a -3 hit, it is definitely worth taking bigger minuses within this game. It's already 25% less than it would be within FPL, because if you think about it, I'm taking a -6 here, right? And we've got bigger margins than we'll ever have in like Champions League Fantasy or FPL, for example. You're never going to get a Premier League game or a European game that has a team at like 90 to 1. Maybe you'll get like some 30s or 40s, but 90 to 1 is absolutely ridiculous. And I think, you know, targeting the players from, you know, that have got games against Auckland is definitely worth doing. And as you can see, that is the plan with our 2 Benfica players in here. Obviously, we'll see how Auckland look in the first game. This is still very much a movable thing, but I definitely think 4 transfers are going to be locked in ahead of this week. So we've got Pavlidis and Artoglu. Both had absolutely fantastic seasons in front of goal as well, 7.2 and 7.8. And at the time of recording, both currently come under 5%. And if they can get to under 5% by the time we hit match day 2 deadline, could be absolute gems for that one as well with the Auckland City fixture. Then, as you can see, I've gone for 2 PSG players. Now, obviously, Dembele is the one that I would rather have. I think, you know, he's definitely going to be looking towards a Ballon d'Or. If they PSG go and win this, I think that is the Ballon d'Or pretty much locked for him heading into the award ceremony for that one. And then we've got Kvaratskhelia as well, who has just been absolutely phenomenal since joining PSG. They've got Botafogo in their second game as well. We saw on the 11FI numbers pretty decent numbers for that one, so I really do want to target those fixtures. Of course, if City look good, they've got another fixture. Maybe if Juve look good as well, they've got Casablanca. So maybe that midfield spot and the strike spot, still a little bit of room. But right now, those are the 4 players that I am going to be looking at. And like I said, I think 4 transfers for match day 2 is going to be locked for me. It is a -6, but I think, like I said, in these group stages, in these shorter format games, you've got to just play it a little bit aggressive for me. That is going to conclude today's video. Of course, if you did enjoy it, make sure you're liking, commenting, and subscribing. And the best of luck in match day 1.